Hello and welcome to Amazon Timestream for Quick Bites. I'm Balwant Bobbili, Specialist Solution Architect at Amazon Web Services. Today I'm going to talk about how you can expand your read scalability on Timestream for InfluxDB. What is Timestream for InfluxDB? It is a InfluxDB 2.x open source version provided as a managed service. So you can continue to build your time series applications efficiently while AWS takes care of underlying infrastructure, provides the order scaling and storage expansion, and many other features. We recently launched Timestream for InfluxDB read replica clusters. Before, you had only single instance to read and write from Timestream for InfluxDB. With this read replica cluster launch, now you can create your redirect your read clients to dedicated replica instance. Let's say if you have data scientists that are running heavy query workloads, or if you have a dashboarding queries, you can just repoint them to the replica instance. And this is completely managed service. When you write the data to primary or writer instance, the data is automatically replicated in async mode to the replica instance. Well, this could improve your read scalability and also add the automatic failure capabilities, because the primary instance and replica instance are created in a different AZ, and any impact on the primary instance, the replica instance can fail out automatically. Well, this also could improve your write performance. You could think, adding a replica instance, how it can improve a write performance. Well, you are creating a dedicated replica instance, and you're redirecting your reads to your new replica instance. That means you're basically freeing up the resources on the primary or writer instance, which can help you to improve your write throughput and also scale your writes. I'll go ahead and do a demo. As part of the demo, I'll create a timestream for InfluxDB read replica cluster and ingest some data to writer instance and query the data using read replica endpoint. I'm in Amazon Timestream console page. I'll go ahead and create timestream for InfluxDB database. I have three options for deployment settings. One is multi-AZ with standby, single AZ. And since I'm creating cluster with read replicas, I'm going to choose the third option, which is cluster with read replicas. There is one-time subscription for creating read replicas since they are provided as marketplace add-ons. So let me click on the view subscription option and click on subscribe. Now I have my subscription active. I went ahead and given the cluster name, username, and the rest of the details required to create the cluster. I'm going to change the instance configuration. I'm going to choose Influx Medium since this is for demo purpose. I'm going to stick with the default storage type. I'm going to change the allocated storage to 20. That's the minimum value allowed. And I went ahead and already clicked on the VPC where I want the cluster to be hosted, and I'm going to choose the subnets. For public accessibility, we recommend to disable public accessibility for production systems. Since I wanted to use Influx UI outside my VPC, so I'm going and enabling it for the demo purpose. And there are failover settings, automatic and no failure. If you choose automatic, if the primary instance fails, it will automatically fail out to replica, and if you don't want that, you choose no failover. And there is an option to create a parameter group with your required influx configurations, but I'm going to choose default for now. For the log delivery settings, you can create a influx S3 bucket and give the location here, so influx logs will be shipped to that locations for you to analyze the logs. And there is a tags option also. I'm going to skip that for now, and I'm going to go ahead and create the influx database. Now I have my database created. Let me go ahead and click on the database. So there is a summary section where I can see the Amazon resource name and endpoint and other details, and there is an instance tab where I can see my primary instance and the replica. So I already opened the primary instance and replica in a new tab. So this is my primary instance, that is starts with XS, and this is my replica instance which starts with GK. And if you have seen it, so the availability zone for the primary is US East 1A, and the availability zone for this one is US East 1B. So they're completely deployed in two different AZs. And we can open the InfluxDB UI for both of them. I've already opened it and logged into both the UIs. So one which starts with XX, this is my primary, and the one which starts with GK is my replica. So let's go ahead and start creating some buckets in the primary and see if they get replicated to replica. Okay, for that I'll go and go to the bucket section and then click on create bucket. Okay, this created the bucket on the primary. Let's go and validate on the secondary, the replica. Okay, now I see the bucket which I created on the primary got replicated to the secondary. I would like to go and run a simple test, that is to create a bucket on the replica and see what happens. For that I'll click on create bucket and give a bucket name. File. As you see, the bucket creation failed. This is because you would not be able to create bucket or write data on the replica instance. You can do that on the only on the writer instance, and the data is automatically get replicated to the replica instance. Now that I have the bucket created, let me go ahead and ingest some data and validate it using primary endpoint and replica endpoint. So I'm using a Python program for that. So I've defined some variables where I'm using primary URL for primary endpoint, read URL for read endpoint, and there is a token which I've already created using InfluxUI. And I have three functions. One is write data, which is basically I'm generating some dummy sensor data and trying to ingest using InfluxDB client. And the second one is read primary data. In the read primary data, I'm basically reading it from the primary URL, which is pointing to the primary endpoint. And the third function actually is using again reading the data, but this time it's using the read URL, which is pointing to the replica endpoint. Now let me go ahead and execute the Python program and see and validate the data. Okay, now that so for the readability sake, I've just ingested 10 data points, and as you can see, this is from my primary and this is from replica, and the timestamps exactly match and the values match. So this helps us to validate the data is being returned to the primary is being replicated automatically to the read replica instance almost instantaneously. One thing to know here is writes do not require acknowledgement from reader node to be considered as a successful write. Once data is committed by the writer DB instance, it is replicated to read replica instance almost instantaneously. That's it for this video. We were able to see within few clicks how you can create a time stream for InfluxDB read replica clusters, which can help you to improve your read scalability and also have other advantages which I have highlighted in the beginning of the video. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any further questions, please do reach out on the email displayed here.